Hi, my name is Amanda, and this is my video discussion for what is difference. And I actually was inspired by Amberly's video post to pick my topic um, because hers got me thinking about how women athletes are portrayed in media, and it got me thinking about the Nike ad that Serena Williams recently put out. Well, I wouldn't say recently, a couple months ago, I think um, that talked about how the media portrays women in sports and how they are overly emotional, how they overreact, and all that kind of stuff. And basically, women can't win with sports and media. So thank you, Amberly, for the motivation to do this one because it's really interesting to me that just how different coverage is between men and women in sports. Um, and also, it made me also think about the recent tweet that CBS News recently put out that has gotten a lot of controversy, and very good reason why they got controversy for it. Was the tweet said Eagles tight end Zach Ertz leaves training camp to watch wife in World Cup. There's so many things about that tweet that really just irk me because one, they don't even mention the woman's name who's going to the World Cup. The World Cup for soccer. They didn't even mention her name. And her name is Julie Ertz, by the way. They just mentioned that she's Eagles tight end Zach Ertz's wife. And that he's missing practice to go see her play in the World Cup. Like, I think that's ridiculous that she was literally pushed off to the side to show the men in sports are better, apparently. Even though she's going to the World Cup. I know I keep saying World Cup, but the World Cup. And they didn't even mention her name. And I think that's ridiculous. And a lot of people agree with me. A lot of people backlashed on them, and they should have. Like, that's not okay. That the whole reason that Zach Ertz is leaving his training camp is because his wife, Julie Ertz, is going to the World Cup. Like, just the fact that Julie Ertz is going to the World Cup should have been the tweet alone. But that's just how the media is. Like, that's how the media is with women. Like, the men overpower the women in what we see as interesting, I guess. I don't know. But as I was researching and like looking at different articles that talk about how women are portrayed in media with sports, I found this article written by, I'm probably going to butcher his name, Honorata Jakubowska, states that gender inequality with regard to the coverage is an important issue because media plays a huge role in sports today. Which is true. Media plays a huge role in a lot of things. But especially in sports, because that's how they get information out, that's how they get stats out and all that kind of stuff. And there's inequality of the coverage, obviously. And I think the statement is entirely true that she made. The coverage of women in sports is nowhere near the type of coverage that the men get in sports. And, like, I get it. Like, the men's sports have been around probably longer, but still, there's so many things that women can do in sports, and no one ever sees it, except for in the Olympics. And I think the only good coverage we get of women in sports is during the Olympics, and mainly even just with gymnastics. Like, I think that's one of the only sports that women overpower men in is gymnastics. But that's not even true. Like, there's so many things women can do better than men in sports, but the only thing that media covers is gymnastics. And, like, there's just so many things that women can do compared to men. Maybe not better, or maybe just the same. Like, they should still get the same amount of coverage, in my opinion. And another article I found by Weber and Carini, and I'll put all, like, the articles that I read for this in the post. But anyways, they question how little Sports Illustrated Sorry, my computer just like went blank. Okay, but they question how Sports Illustrated has little features of women in their magazine. And they even mentioned how women are mainly just sexualized in the covers, unlike men. And the fact that there is little coverage of men in sports is sad, because women can be just as athletic and determined as men, so they should get the recognition that they deserve. And they also mentioned how there is some change in the way the media is going with sports, but it's little. It's going very slow. And another article mentioned that as well. McLaren mentioned the slow pace of the change in media and sports and everything. And like the way I see it is, there will be no question of whether or not the men in sports are covered properly, because they always are. They're always covered. There's always coverage of men in sports, and it's all usually, I don't want to say always, but most of the time it's done right. And gives like exactly what needs to be done on the coverage of media, or sports, sorry. And with men, they're freaking covered in sports whether they're good or not. Like, that makes me think of a long time ago, I saw this post on Facebook. I tried to find it, but I couldn't find it. Where it was saying that, like, our men's soccer team is not the greatest. They barely win anything. But our women's soccer team, the USA, they go to the World Cup. They have, like, so many trophies, so many wins, and yet they still aren't covered as much as the men, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. And the fact that women are just constantly sexualized in media, within sports. Like, I still can't get over how Serena Williams was asked to change during a match because of what she was wearing was unacceptable and wasn't right for playing tennis, when in fact, like, she did it for her health, and like the only reason why she was there was to play tennis, which she was, and she was winning, but she had to leave because of what she was wearing. Like, I can't get over that. And overall, I really just think that the coverage of sports is uneven between men and women. Like, there's a clear difference between the coverage. And I think that needs to change, whether it's a slow pace or not. Like, it needs to change. And especially since there's so many different media outlets out there, like, there's got to be something that does coverage of women in sports, and yet there's not. Well, there probably is, but it's not popular. It's not advertised. It's not shown anywhere, basically. I just really think there needs to be more coverage. There really shouldn't be this difference of men and women in sports. Like, I think women's sports are just as entertaining to watch than men's sports. Like, volleyball, so entertaining to watch, but you have to go to, like, ESPN 54 to get to it. That's not true. I don't know what. I don't really watch ESPN. But anyways, so all I'm saying is that there is a clear difference between the coverage of men and women in sports, and that needs to change. That shouldn't be a thing. But yeah, so that's the end of my discussion.